Welcome back to the Other Side Lifestyle with Jim and Aram. Today we have some like mom coach chick that like looks like a dude, obviously, because she lifts weights. We tried telling her months ago, ease up on the lifting. You're starting to look like a dude, and it's uncomfortable, honestly, for all of us. But
Yeah, she
it
she has
is what it
not
is.
she hasn't paid attention to any of it. She keeps getting stronger and somehow still retains her femininity. I don't know how, but
Uh,
Haley, thanks for
Yeah.
joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So that's that's so
That was
ridiculous. I'm
great.
sorry. I'm
Yeah, that
sorry.
was great. No, I loved it.
I apologize to everybody listening, but Jimmy is high. I dropped a can of Alfredo sauce, so we started off on a bad note today.
I have been just sitting out in the backyard for like an hour, going from laying out in the buff to the cold plunge to laying out, cold plunge to laying out. It was a nice hour and a half of that. So it was a good afternoon before
What
this.
what time did you finish work? Oh, because you don't have the kids yet this
Luckily,
week.
no, I don't think hopefully no colleague. I'm a teacher as well.
Oh, nice.
I
Hard to
had like
believe, I know.
I had all my classes at the beginning of the day, and then I didn't have anything the rest of the day, so I disappeared.
So nude sunbathing is what you decided to do on
I'm
your
just
Friday
sitting there thinking
afternoon.
like
Cold plunges.
everybody's in school right now. I'm hitting the liquor store just to get giant bags of ice on my way home and then sit in the backyard.
Jimmy, Haley, if you don't
Live my
know,
life.
Jimmy's a big Huberman fan.
Oh, nice.
Big
Okay.
Huberman fan. He does everything Huberman says. So he suns his taint for at least 4 minutes a day. He grounds,
Nice.
he cold plunges, he heat therapies, he does
I'm
all the
in
recovery.
Wow.
yes,
Doesn't lift at all.
no,
Okay.
but
All the recovery.
but because of all of his tips, I am jacked. I'm
Nice.
jacked. My testosterone level is 8,000, and it's because I get sunlight within the first 7 minutes of the day. And I do only 11 minutes of cold exposure because there's no benefit after that. So I can't waste my time. I have to devote my time to my morning routine and my grounding under the sunlight as it comes up. That's it. That's all you got to do.
That's the secret. So
That's the
if your
secret.
clients don't know, turn them on to Jimmy. So
I'm
Haley,
83 years old as well, Haley. You might not realize that, but it's because of Huberman's suggestions.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
For the record, I just like the cold plunge. I like how it feels. I'm not doing it for, some brown fat burning metabolism thing. Suck
Yeah.
my little changer wang.
we brought Haley on here to A, get Jimmy to stop talking, and B, because she's a coach, she's a mom, she's a competitive power lifter. And yes, you can be all three of those things at the same time. She proves that every day. Talk to us a little bit about how that whole kind of scope of things that you're doing works for you, because that sounds like a lot.
I just make time for it. So my son is 8, he'll be 9 soon. So he's in school in the morning. So I coach like 3 clients in person in the morning, then go to the gym, get my session in, go pick him up from school, do activities, and then come home and work online. So I kind of make it work around my schedule. I mean, it's not easy, but I feel like if it's a priority to you, then you find time for it.
How do you feel? How do you feel
Are you
about the new?
actively
How do you feel
Let me
about the
ask you
new
this.
math? The new math they're learning in third
What's
grade.
the new math?
They don't even do homework yet in 3rd grade. They said
Awful.
they were finally going to get homework this year, and it's just like practice math for 10 minutes a day and read 20 minutes a day. So I have no clue like what is going on.
Good luck. You're gonna have to learn
Yeah.
math all over again.
And they change. I don't even know like the terms that they use now, even for English, like writing and stuff. I have no idea. He's gonna know way more than I do at this point.
You're gonna be all over YouTube.
Yeah.
Learning what the hell does
Looking
this
it
stuff
up.
mean?
Yeah. Googling what does this mean?
I'm anti homework, but go ahead. You had a question.
I was going to ask, are you currently in a prep season, or are you just
yeah.
okay.
So I compete November 11th. So starting next week, I'll be 8 weeks out.
So now the process of, just so people have a little bit of background in this, because a lot of people don't know about competitive powerlifting, it's not the same as bodybuilding where you're going through these massive calorie cuts and you're losing performance and everything else. It's almost quite the opposite, right? Because you are trying to gain strength and build strength and muscle. Now, as somebody who's practicing the big three lifts, the bench, the squat, the deadlift, is there any stuff that you can impart on our clients as far as kind of, because most of our clients are coming into us for physique change.
Okay.
And the thing that I always tell people is like, you don't need to bench, squat, or deadlift to build a
Mhm.
physique. You
Yeah.
happen to have both a physique and also have the strength.
Mhm.
Can you talk to people about the differences between weightlifting with kind of the free weight modalities and then versus keeping up with an aesthetic?
Do you mean as like which one's better or the benefits?
No, just kind
Or
of the
like,
differences between the two and how they overlap, with how they're also a bit segregated.
sorry. Can
Now
you
get this. These are the.
I don't know
This
what
is why I gotta interject. He's got very complicated
I'm
questions.
like, wait, hold
I
on.
blacked out in the middle of it. No.
Do you want to elaborate, Jimmy? Because I know that you like to dumb things down, so that's fine.
Yeah, that's
You
good
know.
for me.
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that you're asking how could they potentially be married, and if somebody's goal is physique, I'm assuming that you are referring to possibly clients who are wanting to deadlift, bench press, and squat, but they're saying that their goal is physique.
Right.
And
Okay.
can they be brought together? Should they be brought together? And kind of what's the difference? Do you
Okay.
have to do those things or not? How could they be incorporated or not? Kind of a thing.
Yeah, well, I think like physique wise, you don't have to do any of the free weight stuff because the machines just like take out the stability component. So it is good, but you can also see great results doing squats, bench, and deadlifts. Like I've grown my legs a lot just by squatting. I also do a lot of unilateral work with dumbbells, barbells. I don't really have access to many machines, so you can definitely do it. I think I like in my training to combine both for my clients because a lot of people feel like a better mind muscle connection and such with the machines and taking out the stability component of it. But I also like to get my clients deadlifting, squatting, just to like build up their strength. So definitely, I think you can see benefit from doing both. I don't think squat, bench, and deadlift are necessary if you only have physique purposes. But I have a lot of clients like general health who have back pain and a lot of issues, and they see great results deadlifting, adding in squats, just all of the compound movements. I see good results. So I kind of like to marry the two where you get a lot of machine stuff and also the squat, bench, and deadlift, all the free weight stuff.
So what would you say then would be the downside for people who are avoiding deadlift, squat, and bench?
People are so afraid to train their lower back. It's like a really big fear for people, especially deadlifting. So the majority of people that I see in person, they all have back pain. And I add in deadlifts, whether it's a trap bar deadlift because they're afraid to pull from the floor, it's just like an elevated deadlift. Those will strengthen their back. And over time, they start saying, like, wow, my back feels so much better. So I definitely think for the general population, people should be squatting, benching, and deadlifting more just for general health, getting their body healthy, and then physique purposes, adding in the machine stuff and all the other stuff too.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And everybody starts, at least we did. We started with all the free weight stuff. We started with the barbell work. That was kind of the foundational beginning of lifting. That gives you your introduction into stuff. And then as you start getting to a place where you feel more comfortable with those big three, it's very easy to start to make deviations into other places. I think the strength component is huge because there's definitely there's a little bit of ego that's attached to it, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because it gets fucking boring, like doing like a lat focused pull down, or you know, where all you're doing is just training to failure.
Yeah.
Versus I can go up and weight and see a meaningful change on the bar, and that's exciting for people. So I think there's benefit to that. Where do you think it starts to get a bit scary when you start when you watch people do some of these bigger lifts, and you know they're grinding through some of these heavier weights and they're starting to lose either form or they're losing focus? It can get out of hand a bit quickly.
It can. And I've noticed a lot of people, even a lot of online programs, don't manage fatigue and do like either RPE or RIR based training. And so I have seen so many people max out everything every day and their bodies hurt. They're exhausted. Their lifts are stalled. They're not progressing. They're kind of going backwards. And so I think a lot of coaches like forget to prescribe RPE or manage fatigue. So I see a lot of people, maybe they're not following a program. They're just maxing stuff out every
You just got to
day.
push through.
And
You
then
got to
they're in
push through
pain.
it.
Yeah.
You
Like,
got to
yeah, I
push
know.
through it.
Just like
You're
no
hitting a
pain, no gain.
you're hitting a plateau because you
Yeah.
got more in the tank. It's like,
You're
no,
not
I don't.
trying hard enough.
You're not,
Yeah. And you
yeah.
see them just like grinding, and they would benefit so much by like dropping some weight, like getting good quality movements in, leaving just a few reps left in the tank, even just one or two,
Yeah.
instead of just like maxing out. Because people that I see it online, like when I post my heavy lifts, people are like, you're going to get hurt. And I'm like, no, I'm actually not. I've built up to this. I've slowly added weight. Even if my back is rounded, I started with a super lightweight and graded the exposure up as I added weight. So a lot of people don't do that. And yeah, they can get hurt doing that if they just go max out and throw 300 pounds on the bar. But so you have to be smart about it with the free weights.
It's funny. I never deadlifted. Like I started lifting young. Me and Aram talked about it, probably 8th grade, 9th grade, and never deadlifted. It was
we didn't either.
Never did. And then I had back surgery in my early 30s, and that's when I started deadlifting. So it's interesting when you said like how these things are good for the back, and now that's I swear by it. Again, when you have correct form, people shouldn't be just going out and doing it. And to reiterate correct form, you just want to fire your butt straight up in the air, keep your back as rounded as possible, and then just pull with the hamstrings, right? That's
perfect.
All right. Good. That's what I do. Good.
I think that's called an aggressive good morning.
I can max out at least 185, 190 on a good day. I'm crushing deadlift.
It's just, well, and also too, Hailey, talk about the different variations of stuff, because I think people like, traditionally look at like something like a deadlift and like, I have to use a barbell.
Yeah, no, there's so many, even if you just want to start with an RDL to slowly introduce a movement pattern. But my Gen Pop clients, I honestly don't have them pulling with the barbell. They're all trap bar pullers just because it's easier to teach. It's a little more user friendly if someone's going to go in the bar and or to the gym and just start deadlifting, just because of where the bar is, where your hands are. So I like a trap bar deadlift unless you have a coach teaching you how to pull from the floor conventional. I think that's a good variation. Also, just starting with rack pulls where you pull from like above your knee if you're going to use a barbell. You don't have to go in and just start pulling from the floor. I definitely suggest a coach if you are going to, just to dial in how to perform it correctly and then start adding weight.
What kind of
are
cues
trap bars at most gyms? I don't go to a gym. It's been forever since I've been to a commercial.
I mean,
are they at a lot of gyms?
Commercial gyms, huh?
You also got to realize that I'm in Southern California, where every gym is stocked with everything you'd ever possibly need, because the only thing people give a shit around here is drinking EDM music and lifting weights. That's Southern. I mean, you're in California too, right?
I'm in Irvine. Yeah.
So you're just about an hour north of me. Same situation, lifting EDM music and tacos. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So
carne asada.
When you're teaching a deadlift, obviously it's a lot different teaching somebody a deadlift remotely online versus having the in-person presence. Obviously the in-person thing is way better, but how does your cueing change? Because I think sometimes that's the hard part, is like when people have an online coach or they're trying to learn from an online program, they don't have that hands-on. So what are some things you can tell people as far as deadlifting is concerned, some cues you can give them if they're remote, how to improve their deadlift?
Yeah, it's hard with not being in person because you can't give them feedback right away. So I like to just focus on perfecting your setup first. So I have like a 5-step setup that I learned from starting strength. And I have a video for all my remote clients to show them how to set up. I tell them walk up to the bar, do this 5-step setup, pull the bar, put it down, walk away, then go back. Do it again, just an empty bar. Do that 5 times, 3 sets of 5, just to dial in how to do it. It's not about just like throwing weight on the bar and just start deadlifting. You really need to perfect how to do it first. So that, and always bracing is huge. A lot of people don't understand how to brace correctly. So that's a big thing. I really
how do you teach bracing? I'm curious.
I do the Valsalva maneuver.
Okay.
So big breath into your belly. Usually I'll tell a client, take a brace. Just if I were to tell you to brace for me, what would you do? And they all fill their chest up with air. They're like, and I'm like, no, okay, so now fill your stomach up with air. And they're like, I don't know how to do that. So
just
I'll
kind of say like, if I'm going to punch you in the stomach.
Yeah. So I say, make your stomach fat, like not attractive, and then bear down like I'm going to punch you in the stomach, and then they'll tighten it. I'm like, you want to keep that the whole time. And so that'll help too with online clients learning how to brace, because a lot of people forget about that part. Perfect the setup, learn how to brace, set your back correctly. So a cue I like to set your back, I learned this from a different coach, is to make the middle of your back into a soup bowl, because a lot of people like to round their back. So that'll kind of set their thoracic and lumbar in extension before they pull. Those are all like big cues. Pull the slack out of the bar, make the weight feel heavy in your fingertips, leg press to pull the weight up.
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead.
See, I'm new to deadlifting.
Mhm.
Should I wear a belt? Because that's what I see people like that are powerlifting wear. Should I wear a belt? I'm new to deadlifting.
I don't recommend wearing a belt in the beginning. You have to earn the right to wear a belt. So you need
Absolutely.
to learn how to brace. You need to get stronger. I don't tell anyone to wear a belt unless they're pulling over their body weight, 1.5 times their body weight for deadlifts for reps. Squatting, probably their body weight for reps.
If I'm doing curls, should I wear a weight belt with fingerless weight gloves?
Have to.
I'm gonna get in trouble with the bodybuilders though, because I know they wear belts for different reasons.
No, they wear belts aesthetically.
Yeah.
It's an accessory.
Yeah.
It has their name.
And no gloves ever.
Yeah, it has their nickname stitched in the back. So it's,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Lightning.
It's usually like a young
their title too, whatever they've won.
IFBB Pro, which by the way, so like those Wolfpack bags that people have now. I realized that when you buy the Wolfpack bag, anybody can buy the IFBB Pro patch.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's on their website. So you can literally go on the Wolfpack website, buy the huge bag, wrap your belt around it, and then put the IFBB Pro patch on it, even if you're not an IFBB Pro.
What?
And I'm wondering, I'm walking around my gym the other day, and I'm like, there's a lot of fucking IFBB Pros in here.
The F stands for faux. FAUX.
It's IFFBB.
Faux.
I'd be pissed if I was actually a pro and I saw all these people just buying that.
I mean, who gives
So
a
funny.
shit? At the end of the day, if you won, you get your card. You get the big card.
Aram's got a San Diego Padres shirt. He doesn't play for them.
True. Also very true. So I saw a couple of posts that you had or where you're sharing people's stuff, and I always think it's funny because you call these motherfuckers out, but for whatever reason, I don't know why you get picked on as much as you do, because I follow a lot of women that I follow are either competitors or whatever, and they don't get the shit that you do.
They have bigger platforms than me too. I don't understand. I was talking to Brett Contreras the other day, and he's like, "You are the most hated woman on the internet."
Yeah, what is
Give an example.
I don't know, because anytime, if I hip thrust, because I like to just like twice a year max out a hip thrust for fun, and people get really mad about that. How pointless!
Like, why would you do? Yeah, okay.
Well, it is, but you know that it's pointless.
Yeah, so I say, like, I put like your fellow ego lifter maxing out for fun. Like, right. I know it is, but I get a lot of hate on my squats because they don't look aesthetically pleasing. I am like all legs, and so I have to bend over. Like a squat is
that's so what people don't understand. Yeah, people don't understand how different it's going to look based
on leverages.
They don't. And I literally made a post a few weeks ago that's like gotten a lot of hate, and it was talking about like with your anthropometry and like all that, your squat's going to look different depending on your limb length and all that. And people are like, if I were you, I would start saving up for health insurance. This is the worst advice ever. You're going to put people in the hospital. Say goodbye to your back. This is herniated disc form. And then like anytime I say, literally the only thing I ever say to them is cite the source. And then they say, you're the most arrogant person ever. And then it's like all this thing, all these men chime in, and they love calling me arrogant because I asked them to cite the source. But I work with a lot of physical therapists who have done this research on injury relating to lifting, and how if you grade exposure to the movement pattern, slowly introduce the ROM, like it's fine. But they won't cite the source. They instead just want to like,
they don't know.
Well, maybe just post a video where it's like from the side, notice, don't look at my body. Is the bar above midfoot?
The bar path. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's not like the most perfect bar path ever when I'm under a heavy load, but that's pretty normal. It's not going to look perfect.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting stronger. I'm not in pain. I've never been in pain squatting. My back has never hurt. So like
And the reality is if you ever watch any of the biggest squats in the world, and I'm talking like the 1,000-pounders,
Yeah.
first of all, they're 18 feet wide.
Yeah.
Right? Where are they? Their legs are completely spread out apart.
Yeah.
They're sumoing everything. Their feet are basically like this,
Yeah.
like totally pigeon-toed. It's about a half an inch of a drop.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all sorts of bend over, all sorts of rounding. And these people are world record holders.
Yeah.
And the people that are chiming in on you probably don't go above 225 ever.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's in a Smith machine, which is fine because I squat in the Smith machine. And so does C-Bum. Shout out to C-Bum. He's going to sponsor
That makes
our
him
podcast.
feel better. That makes him feel better now.
So
C-Bum.
C-Bum, yeah, I mean, we're boys, dude. We're like, we hang out on weekends.
Is it weird that you watching his videos when you're home alone at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday?
There's nothing weird about it.
I get as you hanging out with them.
Well, yeah, because he posts those for me.
Okay, I understand.
Duh.
I understand.
Yeah, so basically best friends with him. But it's interesting to me that like people that don't live the lifestyle like to comment, and I think it's almost because you have such a big platform that you're a target. Like if you had 3,000 followers, nobody would do shit.
Yeah.
Like nobody would say
I can
fucking
attest
word
to that. I can attest
because
to
nobody goes after Jimmy.
Nobody gives
knows
a shit
who he
about
is.
me. I'm a nobody. I'm a nothing.
I think as your follower count grows, you get more of these trolley type of people who want to feel relevant on your page because they're chiming in and trying to call you out. Whereas you're posting what I believe to be very helpful content because again, mom, coach, competitor, who's got great form, who's got a body of work and strength, and is also doing it under some pretty shitty circumstances, like very long femurs.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not an easy
It's
body
not,
type to squat.
It's
So
not.
just to alleviate some of that concern for some people, because some people are like, well, maybe I suck at squatting, maybe I suck at deadlifting, just reassure them and say, like, hey guys, like I have to deal with this stuff too, but you can overcome some of these limitations.
Yeah. Squats actually ended up being like my favorite lift because they're the hardest. I've had to work the hardest for them. I love squatting now. So I think, if you just keep doing it, people don't squat often enough either. Like say they have a hard time squatting and it's uncomfortable for them. And so they don't want to do it. They probably should be squatting twice a week to get used to it and get comfortable with it. But a lot of people don't want to do that. So I always suggest doing more.
What do you say to the people that say I don't squat because it hurts my knees?
It's because they squatted. Squatting's bad for your knees.
Yeah,
everybody knows
so
that.
bad for your knees.
Everybody knows that.
It's not. No, I would tell them to have their form checked, to be honest. Like, I don't know what they're doing. There's so many different squat variations they could do that, like, usually a low bar is better on the knees because there's not as much knee flexion as a high bar or front squat. A box squat is even like easier on the knees. So I just tell them to get their form checked and look at programming too. They might have too much volume right away. It's the same thing like with getting hurt. You need to grade your exposure to the movement pattern. So don't just like front squat max out. You need to slowly add weight to that. Yeah. So definitely you can find a squat variation that wouldn't hurt.
I used to love squatting.
Yeah.
Now I'll bail so fast. It's like, this is kind of heavy. I'll just bail. But a buddy of mine, I don't know if you ever heard of Corey Gregory. He was the guy who like founded Muscle Farm. The supplement company. I don't even know if they're in business anymore, but he's not part of it.
See, you just name dropped.
I don't know him. I was just asking if.
Yeah, you watch his videos too, like he's your friend.
I used to.
See, so we both are in the same loser position.
We've gone our separate ways.
Okay.
But he had this like squat every day challenge, and I did like 110 days straight of squatting.
Wow, I would
with a barbell
too after that.
With a barbell, but every day would be you pick the variation. So maybe a front, a box, a back, whatever. There was always some kind of a variation, but it was just squat every day, and all the workout was just build up to a heavy 1 rep max. And I did learn a lot in it, and I loved it. My buddy did 365 days straight of squatting every single day. And I loved it. My numbers went through the roof. I fell in love with squatting and all that stuff. There's days where you're just in total pain. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. And then you end up getting a PR. So there was like a lot of things mentally that was good. But since then, I'm good. I'm like, I'll do lower.
Burn out from
I'll do lower weight. I have no interest in even getting close to a 1 rep max or anything like that. It ruined me.
It's been 2 years since I put a barbell on my back, I think. I just have no need for it.
Yeah.
Is it because it hurts your vagina, or is it something else?
It's my vagina.
Okay, I was
It's
just
my pelvic floor, actually.
Your
It's
pelvic
it's
floor.
the lower portion of my cylinder.
Episode 82.
Yeah. So we digress, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of the women specifically that listen to us do have kids. They are trying to go down this journey, as we like to call it. Do you have any advice for the ones that are really struggling to find time for all of it? Because obviously with you, you're focused on nutrition because you have to fuel for performance. You're focused on getting your training in, and I'm sure your training takes a couple
3
hours.
hours
Right.
sometimes. Yeah.
So, obviously you're at a different level. Most people are lucky if they can get 45 minutes or an hour workout in, but
Yeah.
do you have some recommendations for the busy moms out there that are trying to get this stuff done and worked into their schedule?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me when I started lifting was finding a gym that had a kids club so I can bring my son with me, because that was like the biggest obstacle for me. How am I going to get to the gym? And once I found like a good gym where he actually wanted to go, it was fun for me because he wanted to go play with his friends, and then I went and had time for myself. And a lot of people think that you have to work out. Like they see people online working out 7 days a week. They think they need to do that, but you can see results if you can stick to the same amount of days every week, 3 days a week, even an hour a day, anything, just to make time for yourself and stick to it. Also, like nutrition wise, I know a lot of people don't like meal prepping, but being prepared for the week, having meals ready, easy meals too, that you don't have to like go through your pantry and be like, what am I going to make? I need the right macros. Like I literally at least once a day just eat ground turkey and rice, because it's just easy. Like having those simple meals that if you need to eat, just eat something with like high protein, get your carbs in, fats. It doesn't need to be like the most gourmet thing.
But
Just
Hailey, that's so boring.
I
That's
know,
so
right?
boring.
I was just gonna
But
say
just having like things you can stick to like that you can be consistent with. People try to overcomplicate it a lot. Like pick a few days that you can be consistent with, go to the gym, find a program you enjoy. That'll make a huge difference too. People think they need to be doing the same workouts that they see their favorite influencer doing. And sometimes you don't enjoy that kind of lifting. So finding something that you actually look forward to, that you have goals you can set with, that makes it a lot easier for you to get to the gym in the first place.
Yeah, I think we talk about that so much where people, I don't know if they really truly know what they want. And it's like they don't have to ever want to power lift, but they could follow somebody like you and be inspired by the work that you're putting in. But then people start watching these things and they don't even realize what they want. So they start following somebody like you and they're like, that's what I need to do. I need to be a power lifter if I want to look like her. And it's like, no, so I think when people really figure out what they want, then it becomes a little bit easier. And you say you find the workouts that you enjoy, but at the same time, because we've talked about this before, you might enjoy F45, Orange Theory, high intensity, and then you're complaining that you're not getting to the place that you want to get to.
Yeah. I hate to say this, I don't recommend group fitness.
That's fine. We're adamantly, I'm at least adamantly against it.
Yeah, if you want to do it for cardio, just to like get a sweat on or burn calories, but like if you want to see physique changes, you need to strength train. And
how many days a week would you recommend that person? They like going for the community, they like those types of workouts for how they feel, but they are starting to now realize, all right, I need to ease up on this stuff and focus on progressive overload weight training, but I don't want to not go there. What would you recommend? How many times a week they should do that?
Once or twice a week, still to like have the community and like sweat, but focus on the other part in the gym.
I want to bring up another point because I do have a lot of friends that are power lifters. You're a performance athlete. You're not always going to be in your best aesthetic shape being a performance athlete. And I want you to really drive this point home, because there's a lot of people that don't understand the nutritional requirements that will differ from modality to modality, right? Fueling CrossFit workouts is different than fueling bodybuilding workouts, is different than fueling powerlifting workouts. And I think a lot of even performance athletes are like, well, fuck, I want to be like the lean, jacked powerlifter. But it's like, that's not what you're training for.
It's so hard. Yeah.
You got to put that shit on the shelf.
You got to pick one. Yeah. Especially when I'm in meet prep. So last meet prep, we went on a little bulk, and it was my first bulk ever. and we upped my calories by a good amount. It was really mentally hard.
Where were you at? Like, what did you get up to?
Before I was probably at like 2,200 calories, maybe 2,100 even,
Okay.
probably only like 170 carbs a day. And my coach upped me to 350 grams of carbs a day. I went up to 200 or 2,750 calories, I
And
think.
where was your body weight?
My body weight was, I started at 163, 162 maybe. And my squats were doing so well with all those extra carbs. Like all of my lifts were going so well and it was so nice. So I ended up getting up to 167 at meet. And I signed up for the 165 weight class and I had to go over to the higher weight class because we didn't want to cut like right before competition because my lifts were going so well. So I actually did like a pretty intense cut after because cutting during meet prep is going to affect your performance unless you're like a high level athlete where you're cutting right before your meet. That's different. But like someone who just decides to do a powerlifting meet, you don't want to cut on your first meet anyways. But
Say, describe how then for the general population, how they can take that same mindset with preseason, season, postseason, off season in their everyday life, knowing now next summer is their performance because everybody's getting ready for next summer, but obviously not now. What could they start to think about and do?
You have to pick your goal. So like you were saying, you can't be at your peak performance and be your strongest while in a cut. So I always recommend to focus on performance, put on the muscle first, and then cut depending on where you're at in your fitness journey. So we did, like for me, I did a cut in the off season and now I'm going back into a surplus for performance. So a lot of people are like, I want to put on muscle, I want to lose fat right away. But sometimes when you're not newer in the gym, when you're new, you can do that. It's like easier because you'll see results with anything. But when you're not newer, you kind of have to pick one or the other.
So right now you get a new client today. They want to lose 20 pounds. We'll just throw it out, whether it's realistic or not for them. We'll say 20, 25 pounds for next summer. They have some experience with lifting, not a ton. They like group fitness stuff, blah, blah, blah. What are you starting with? What are kind of these phases over the next 9 months, really, before next summer starts? What things are you working on with them?
I don't really do much nutrition with my clients, but as a trainer, I would focus on performance right now. We would focus on doing volume, putting on some muscle first. They can add in, I'd have my clients add in a little bit of cardio, walking every day, 20 to 30 minutes, get their steps in, but I would really focus on putting on muscle and focus on hypertrophy and strength.
And you'd spend maybe the next 4+ months doing that.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
That's good because the holiday season, that's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they can eat. They'll probably still see if it's a new program to them in some kind of different training, they'll probably still see results. I probably wouldn't have them weigh themselves, but take pictures. Depending on if they want to put on muscle, but you're saying this person wants to lean out, I would tell them take measurements, take pictures, go off of that. Don't look at the scale for the first 4 months, especially with women. It's the scale in a weight loss journey. It's such a mind thing. I don't know if I'm allowed to pass on here. It's a mind.
Yeah, we didn't curse at the intro to let her know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I don't know if you know, but I had gained a lot of weight after I had my son. I'm 162 again right now. I was 215. So I was pretty overweight for my size.
After he was born.
After he was born, and I had never lifted. So when I started my fitness journey, I've gone through all this.
Wow.
Yeah. So I focused just on strength training for the first year. I did a little bit of cardio and I saw great results. The scale didn't move as much as it did once I started cutting, but my body composition changed so much.
So you didn't even get into this stuff until after your son. You have a son?
Yeah.
Son, after your son was born, you weren't lifting.
No, I didn't lift or anything. I was a dancer and soccer player growing up.
Okay.
And that I stopped doing dancing when I was 19. Kind of just was living life. I did not work out exercise anything. And then I had my son when I was 23. And then when he was probably 2, I was so overweight. I didn't know how to cook. I was eating microwave food and frozen pizzas. And I was like, I can't live like this. I have Hashimoto's. My thyroid was horrible. So I was like, I need to make a change. And I got into strength training, and that changed my whole life. I didn't even focus on really the physique like goals that I had, but it just followed by lifting, eating good, and then
How did did you hire a trainer? I think this is the most interesting part. I think that a ton of people be able to relate to this.
Mhm.
So you have the baby, you're the heaviest you've ever been. You're like, holy shit, I'm over 200 pounds.
Mhm.
You're a former athlete. Well, which you're always an athlete.
Yeah, but former at the time.
Yeah, former competitive
I barely
athlete in
even
high
went on
school.
walks.
Yeah. So you're up over 200 pounds. You have the baby. You're thinking, what the fuck did I do to myself? Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and what do I
And
do to fix it?
what did you do? Did you
My
just
brother
sort of
my brother was lifting with a coach who was having him squat, bench, and deadlift. He's like, I really think you should try it and get in there. And so I found an LA Fitness with the kids club. Started taking him there. I'd met the coach. He taught me how to squat, bench, and deadlift on my first day. And I just like the confidence that came with it and like trying it. I was like, this is so fun.
Ooh,
I love
yeah.
this. I have time for myself to like focus on something. And ever since I've been hooked. So that's like something that's always kept me motivated because it just makes me feel like myself when I
Yeah.
did not feel like myself when I first
How
started.
how long postpartum did you start? Was that
He
6
was
months?
about
Like
2.
2
Yeah.
months?
No, 2 years
Two
old.
year oh, 2 years
Yeah.
old.
So I spent
Even
like a few years overweight.
that's even a bigger
Yeah.
difference than just hearing the story. Some people, it's
Oh
like they have the
yeah.
baby and then they're thinking it's been a couple years
It's
now.
been a big transformation for
Wow.
me. When I first started, I'd wear all black. I would not have like an inch of skin showing, pants. Like I watch my videos and it's so different now because I wear shorts now and a tank top or whatever I want to wear. And it's
Mm.
so different. But yeah, back then I was just so self-conscious and like not myself. So lifting has taught me a lot.
And do you remember the timeline roughly where you got to a weight that you were like, wow, whether it's the first 20 pounds or whatever? What kind of timeline did that happen for you? Obviously, not everybody can expect this,
I
but
lost like 15 pounds within the first few months. But then I gained a little back once I started strength training,
okay.
like actually adding weight. The scale went up by like 5 pounds. And so then I was like, wait a second, I don't want it to go back up. But I was looking different. Like my body
Yeah.
composition was changing, but I was so hyper focused on the scale. So we decided to do a little bit of a cut. We only focused on taking pictures, measurements, and all that. But I'd say like where I saw the biggest change in my body composition, a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a year of, especially going from somebody who was detrained completely,
Yeah.
right? To have giving you that first year of really specific focused program training.
Yeah.
I always tell all my female clients, I'm like, if you're detrained or if your training age is relatively young, capitalize on those first 3 years and just fucking hammer home the idea that I'm going to never be able to grow this amount of muscle ever again in my life. So let me do it now to buy back this body image freedom that I'm going to get 3, 4, 5 years down the line. And I'll never have to worry about this shit ever again because I'm going to be confident. I'm going to have the skill set to lift for the rest of my life. I'm going to figure out my nutrition. I'm going to have this shit cemented in as my daily habits. And this is my new identity, as opposed to in one diet, out of a diet, into a group fitness class, out of another class. Nothing's working. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. And again, somebody who has Hashimoto's, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got diagnosed with a disease that's a real disease, because when you get Hashimoto's, that's a real problem. It's not hypothyroid. This is something that gets medicated. Were you medicated for it or no?
Yeah, I've been on medication since I was
Okay.
16 for it. But that makes it even harder to lose weight too.
Have the
Like,
symptoms of your Hashimoto's improved since you started your lifestyle?
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't even really feel the symptoms anymore. I've had hypothyroidism since I was 13, been on Synthroid. I didn't get diagnosed with Hashimoto's till after my son, like right when I started lifting, or right before. That was part of the reason why I was like, I need to get my life healthier. And the symptoms disappeared. I was on an amount of like an overweight 60-year-old woman, like almost the
For
highest
Synthroid?
amount of Synthroid. And now they keep dropping me because my thyroid's responding just to being a healthier person and a healthier lifestyle.
Have you made any nutritional interventions because of your Hashimoto's? Because it's something that we talk about a lot.
Yeah, I don't do dairy or gluten for the most part. I have a really hard time with it because I love dairy and gluten. So when I go out with family, go out to eat, I'll eat it. But that's made a huge difference in my nutrition, just in how I feel. And adding in L-glutamine was a big thing too, just for like my
Gut health.
Yeah, because I was constantly bloated before, and so that's helped a lot.
I think it's so huge what you said, because this is again what we talk about. I know I talk about with my clients. I know I've posted multiple times about it, that the action is what creates this confidence. People think, okay, I have to lose the weight to have this confidence, but you said like that first day lifting, there was something there, this confidence of like getting under a barbell and doing things. And it wasn't even, it sounds like you were like, I need to get healthy, get back in the gym. You got into this lifting thing. It wasn't like, I need to do this to lose weight. You fell in love with the process almost right away. And the result was, that's what we kind of talk about. It's like if the goal is showing up, the goal is getting stronger. That's the goal. The actions, that's the goal. The consequence is going to be a physique transformation. When the goal is the physique transformation, you're quitting every time you're not seeing the scale move.
You're never going to be happy either.
Yeah,
it's always going to, because I've done that too. Like after like years later, I had like a specific weight that I wanted to weigh, and I got that weight. I was never happy with.
Yeah.
I always wanted more.
Was there something that triggered that?
Like the weight that I wanted
where
to
you were
be
like,
at?
I just want to get to this weight number?
I wanted to be in the 150s so bad. Like I
Just
wanted to
because.
get to 159 because when I was a teenager, I weighed that.
Yeah.
I wanted to be back to that pant size. That was just like in my head. I always wanted that. And a lot of women are like that I talk to. They're like, when I was this age, I weighed this. Your life's different now, but yeah.
It still doesn't make any sense to me because it's like in 2015, which I don't even know how fucking was it, 9 years ago, I was 175 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm 210 pounds now. I could never dream ever of being under 195 pounds ever again, nor do I fucking care to want to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a 40-year-old man. I was 28 I was 30 years old. I feel
triggered. I feel triggered that you're throwing these numbers out like they're child's weights.
Like they're old.
I'm older than you and I'm in that range. I feel a little
good. You should be triggered because you're fucking chubby and nobody loves you. So
that's true.
And that's why
nobody loves me because I'm chubby. Correct.
Right. And that's why most people want to lose weight, because they don't want to be loved. And that's why I lift weights and tattoo myself so I can get attention, because nobody pays attention to me. That's why I do all the things I do. I am insecure. My therapist and I are working on it. Thank you. Let's put that to bed. But it's astonishing to me that like reasonable, smart people who have college degrees, who have really successful jobs, who have parented children, keep going back to this idea of, I want to be my former self. Mm-hmm. I'm a 50-year-old woman who's going through menopause, but I want to weigh what I did when I was 35. How ridiculous is that?
So ridiculous. It's crazy. And I actually find that I'm happier at a little bit of a higher weight than at like the lowest weight ever. Like I actually prefer to be a little bit bigger, be stronger in the gym. I look the same. Like I look strong. It's not like a few pounds heavier makes a difference, but I actually like how I feel a little bit heavier than like that number that I always wanted to weigh.
Do you still go through, especially like during some of these bulks and some of these prep phases where you do have to eat more calories and you get a little bit more kind of like, as much as I hate the fucking word, let's use the word fluffy because everybody uses it.
Yeah.
Do you still have some of those body image issues?
Yeah, and I think I always will. I mean, I like to say that I'm doing well with it, but going through the bulk and then gaining the weight, I didn't like how I was feeling and looking because I was like extra bloated with all the carbs. And so we did a pretty strict cut. And so I got back down to like 160 almost. And so now we're starting to add the calories back in because I'm in prep, and it's hard mentally to like feel like I'm not as lean again. Like I feel my stomach being bloated, but it's just a process, and I'm putting on muscle. I'm getting stronger. So the physique's going to be even better down the line anyways. I just have to remind myself that it's a short period of time. I think we'll always be a little obsessive about it. As much as people like to say that they're like healed from all of the things they've learned growing up. No, I think everyone struggles with it.
Yeah, but there's that difference between It sounds like you wouldn't mind the extra fluff if you didn't have that uncomfortable bloat.
Yeah, especially if I'm stronger. Like,
Yeah. So it's
yeah,
the same thing. Like people, they feel bloated, all this stuff, and then they start eating better. The bloat goes away, but they didn't lose enough. And now
yeah,
they're upset. I'm like, but you feel better.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're not bloated anymore. Yeah, but I got this fluff. Okay. Well, the issue before was you felt bloated and you were complaining
Yeah.
about that. So I think,
That's why I like just focusing on strength because
yeah,
I'm like, if I just focus on the way I look, it's gonna be like too much for me. I won't enjoy what I'm doing
yeah,
anymore.
Yeah, but a lot of the
good.
people that are focusing on aesthetics don't really live a life conducive to aesthetics. I
No.
mean, let's be honest. Like, look, just emulate a bodybuilder's lifestyle. Like, ask yourself, do I want to fucking live like that? And
Yeah.
most people,
Do
if
you
you
want to
ask them,
bring, yeah. Do you want to bring prep meals out to dinner with all your
right,
friends so you can hit
right,
your macros? Like, yeah, it's the same thing with people. They think they're going to turn into a man when they start lifting weights or be like this really jacked bodybuilder woman that they see. I'm like, do you know how much work and years go into look like that? Like, you can't just snap your fingers, touch a heavy barbell, and you turn into that. Like, you have to really commit to that.
Yeah. We always said to like, you don't just wake up one day and go, oh shit, I got too fucking
I
jacked.
got
I'm
so
too
jacked.
manly now.
Shit. I didn't even see
I
this coming.
remember when I started lifting, though, that was in my head. I was afraid to be bulky because
Yeah.
that's how we thought back then. And I was doing a lot of triceps extensions. And I told my coach, I was like, I feel like it's getting bigger. And he was like, no, it's just like a pump. And I'm like, no, I woke up and it's just like bigger. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I stopped doing like arms because I was so afraid. I laugh at it now. And I stopped deadlifting for a while too because I was afraid my traps were going to get too big. But it
I
looks,
mean,
yeah,
if it was as easy as that,
yeah,
anybody that walks into a commercial gym would be jacked.
100%.
Anybody, like literally every single person that has a Planet Fitness membership would be walking around looking like a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
Because the assumption is like, oh my God, I have to lift light weights at this 20 to 30 rep range, which doesn't make any fucking sense to anybody. If you want to do it every once in a while, sure. If you're in
yeah,
a hotel gym that doesn't have enough weights, sure.
yeah,
There's context in specific circumstances in which that makes sense. But your average person, if they're doing something for 15 or 20 reps, there's no percent chance that they are lifting heavy enough to evoke any type of stimulus whatsoever.
no. And they're usually having conversations while doing it. Like there's no intensity there at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I think something is interesting. Like when you started lifting, how many years did it take before you even thought about wanting to compete in powerlifting?
Oh, the first day.
Oh, really?
Probably, or maybe even the first week, I was like, I want to compete, but I never thought I was good enough, strong enough. I never thought like I could, and I was like, I'm a mom. Like, what do I think I'm doing? And so it's always been in the back of my mind. So I
Okay.
signed up last year. I was like, okay, next year I'm doing it. And then January came and I'm like, shoot, I said I was going to do it. And I've always wanted to do it. I'm getting older. So I'm like, okay, I'm signing up. I'm doing it. And I made myself, but I started lifting over 6 years ago now. And
Yeah.
I've been waiting this whole time, but I like that fire in me. I like happened
You
pretty quickly.
ruined my whole hypothesis.
How many
I was-
I
competitions have
know,
you done?
sorry. Were you going to say years?
No, I was gonna say no. I was gonna say because I think a lot of people we don't realize what path life is going to take us. We don't realize what path fitness is going to take us, and it could take us any number of directions. But it's like if that only goal is weight loss, the only goal is aesthetic. It's so easy to just get stuck on that path, and you miss where maybe the life path might take us. If versus if we just fell in love with that feeling in the gym and then be open to where life takes us. Maybe it doesn't take us to be the weight that we were in high school, and we're open to now a different physique, a different lifestyle, whatever it is. But you ruined it, so screw you.
I know,
Aram,
sorry. Well, I
Aram, you
think
had a
the
question. I'm just
change.
kidding, but it still took you years to actually do it.
Yeah, I
How
think
many
the change. Sorry, go
how many
ahead.
competitions have you done since you started?
Only one. I started in January, so this is my second one that I'm prepping for.
So what what was your total? What were your totals for the first meet?
You really want
Like
to know?
it's like our
Yeah.
it's like our downloads per episode.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
bench
Tell
is-
us.
My bench I've been working on. My squat was 308.6. My deadlift was, I think, 347 because I failed my third attempt. Then my bench was like 127 because I was like, I did not like benching.
But
But
still, like I
I'm
want
hoping to
people.
get like my deadlift closer to 400 for this meet and my bench closer to like 145 at least.
You're like in your 30s. That's gross.
I know I'm 30. So
But
gross.
but I want people to really understand, like conceptualize that, like as a 160 something pound woman who's relatively lean and looks very feminine to this day, you've got a 300 over a 300-pound squat, which most men in the gym won't be able to fucking touch with any proficiency whatsoever.
Yeah.
You've got almost a 350-pound deadlift, which again most men aren't touching today. And the bench press is the bench press. Again, that's always going to be most women's weakest thing,
And I
because
have
it's
the
just
longest arms, so
another disadvantage.
Yeah.
So I just want every woman that's listening to this to realize that you're going to get stronger way faster than you're going to build this amount of like male muscle that you're so afraid of building. Always.
Yeah.
You will always be stronger first.
Yeah.
So ladies, enjoy the fucking strength, because as you age, you're going to prevent having your family having to pick you up and move you around, because your limbs don't work, because you've atrophied and sarcopenia'd your way through.
It's a top 5 cause of death, I think, over 75 is falling.
Yes.
That's because people don't have stability because they don't lift.
Right. And the other part is like when you learn how to properly handle weight and load management and all this other stuff, the confidence that comes with it, the structural support that your body has with each joint and limb is getting monumentally better. And obviously, as a 30-something-year-old woman, you're not worrying about what's going to happen at 70, but it's nice to set yourself up.
I think about it though. Yeah. Like I want to be able to run around. I see people who can't get off the ground once they're sitting. Older people have a lot of issues with like falling and breaking their hips and they never recover. And just strength training increases your bone density. Like all that is super important as you age. So I think that's just another benefit that you can get from strength training.
How much does your 92-year-old grandmother deadlift?
I wish she deadlifts.
I'm sure she does.
She carries her dog who's like 20 pounds. She picks him up from the ground, carries him around. She carried her suitcase upstairs when she
Farmer walks.
I'm like, can I help you? Yeah, so she does all that. That's her strength training. She carries.
That's incredible. So she is. So you come from a long line of strong ass women.
So So what you're saying is that the average 30 to 50-year-old woman lifting 10-pound dumbbells should feel embarrassed because your 92-year-old grandmother is carrying around a 20-plus pound dog.
Yeah. Well, and they've been doing that same weight for years.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that we just harp on all the time. It's like if your kid weighs 30 or 40 pounds and you got him on one hip and then you're holding the phone in the other and you're carrying groceries with the same hand.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason why you should be goblet squatting under a 50-pound dumbbell.
Yeah, I tell all my clients in person are all moms, and I'll hand them a dumbbell that's like 40 pounds to goblet squat. They're like, that's so heavy. I'm like, how big is your kid? You hold your kid by like with one arm. They're like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm like, you can do it. Just do it. You're fine.
It's funny.
The fear is so funny. It's
they see how big the dumbbell is. They're like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. So I like with in-person clients, I kind of just like add on the little weights every time. I don't tell them what they're lifting. They don't need to know, but I add weight every time. I'm like,
you just gotta tell them like, they make them look big so that you feel cool. It's like those bumper plates in CrossFit.
Yeah, they're
just
really
make them look big. Yeah, or just buy like mini 40-pound kettlebells.
Yeah,
and they think
that's true. Those really tiny ones.
Start that business. The small, heavy kettlebells for women who are afraid of big kettlebells.
Yeah, and dumbbells.
Yeah,
make them pink too.
Yeah.
Oh god, awesome. the pink weights that needs to stop. The pink protein and the pink weights need to go away.
No.
Or just straight up. How badass would that be in a gym? Like the whole rack of dumbbells is pink.
That'd be fine.
That'd be
if it's
awesome.
all pink,
as long as they're heavy.
Oh, like 160s, hot just pink.
Pink. Yeah, I'm sure in South Beach there's a gym that has that.
Yeah, if Blink 182 can use pink font.
I know, right? It's pretty cool.
There we go. She's wearing a Blink 182 shirt.
Yeah.
Way before your time.
Before her time?
Yeah.
No, I love Blink 182.
You like the 45-year-old version of Blink 182. You don't know like the 19-year-old.
Travis Barker. Yeah, I used to be obsessed with Travis Barker.
I mean, I think I still am.
Is it because he's so thick and jacked?
He's not big
Yeah.
or jacked. He looks like
100%.
I
He
know,
looks-
Aram. I was being sarcastic.
he looks like Tommy Lee with no hair.
He
Yeah.
does. He
Yeah.
does. He's
Hailey,
good. He's legit.
leave our audience with kind of what your inspiration is to the women that are listening, because a lot of people are out there. It's summer's over. They're
Mhm.
looking at their pictures from the summertime. They're like, well, fuck, I didn't do what I should have. I don't like the way I look. You know, the holidays are coming, right? Because everybody's going to start to get strapped in some September, October. They're going to fucking lose it again in November and December, and they're going to start over again in January. Then they'll quit by February, and then it's going to be the mad dash to June. Give these people some advice.
I'm so biased with strength training. So I would say find a strength training program, spend the next 6 months building and getting stronger. When January comes around, then you can start cutting or whatever. But it's life-changing for so many women. I coach women, hundreds of women online, and they all say the same thing. So if you have not tried out getting into the gym for strength and maybe not training for physique goals, because that's going to follow no matter what, find a strength training program and stick to it for like the next 6 months and just really put your head down, put in the work and train with intensity. And I think you will like really love it.
If somebody's looking for an in-person trainer, they're ready to finally stop trying it on their own, but they want somebody in person because they never really lifted before. Are there any red flags that you could tell people where it's like, this might not be the best trainer for you at LA Fitness or Edge or Esporto or whatever these places where they have all these trainers at?
First off, when they're just trying to like kill you, where you're just like beat up walking out of the gym, they superset everything. They make you go do cardio and run laps in between your strength training movements. That's a huge red flag to me. When they tell you need to be in the gym 6 or 7 days a week, that's a big red flag to me. When they don't ask you if a set was hard after you did it, if they're not paying attention to how your weights are moving from your first set to your last set, they just keep you at the same weight every time. That's a big red flag because you're not going to progress doing that. So that's a huge thing. You need to see like ask your client after, how hard was that? And then add weight if it wasn't hard. I think those are, just like the really intense trainers who like make it seem like unattainable for you. They're not willing to work with your goals. They tell you need to do this many days a week. You need to starve yourself. Run.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
So we
burpees between sets of deadlift.
Every set.
Get a new trainer.
I see it all the time.
Get a new trainer.
Yeah, just go burn calories in between like your strength stuff. Just they're running all over the gym.
It's such bullshit. So we've installed a couple of questions at the end of our podcast here. So we're going to ask you, on the electric chair, you're going to be fried and you have your last meal. It could be a multitude of items. It doesn't have to be just one singular food item, but what are you eating? And while you're having your last meal, what album are you listening to?
Ooh. I'm eating tacos and sushi.
Interesting.
Where are the tacos from?
First.
Where are the tacos from?
I don't know.
We're not having dessert. No dessert. No sweet tea.
Yeah, we're having
She was
dessert
just getting
after.
started.
We're gonna do sushi. Well, there'll be like carne asada tacos probably.
Okay.
Spicy with like good salsa. Then there's gonna be sushi and then tiramisu.
Oh.
So we got
Mexican,
Mexican,
Asian, and Italian.
Yeah.
I like it.
And what album are you listening to?
Shoot. Probably Elenium. They're like my favorite DJ.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we definitely have ourselves a California girl. EDM and tacos.
Tacos.
And lifting and blonde.
Yeah.
You're not a stereotype.
I'm pretty basic. Yeah, not at all.
Well, we thank you for coming on and joining our nonsense today. Hopefully somebody got something out of this, folks. If you're listening, give Hailey a follow. We'll have her stuff on our podcast. Light us, rant on us, tell us if we suck or for good, and keep coming back for more.
Yeah, and if you haven't shared it, share it. So it's not the same two people. There's a lot of you out there listening. Share it.
Yeah, I'm gonna call out Carmi and Heather right now.
Yeah,
you guys
Carmi
are the only
Heather.
people sharing. We appreciate you.
Keep doing it.
Keep doing it, but have other people share it too.
Yeah, bully them. Bring bullying back. And as always, bye.